Table 16, please. Marie Cosgrove, Alice May. Table 16, Bex McCall, Michaela Gardner, table 18, please.
Welcome back. We go live again with quarter-final action from the main event of the World Rules Pool Tour, and this match between Aaron Davies and Clint Hansen. Good evening again, Mark Shepherd.
Good evening. Quarter-final time. It's starting to get a bit serious.
Yeah.
Although also starting to get a bit late. I think it's going to be a long night for whoever gets through. Back to back for Aaron Davies. We've just seen him on the stream. Unfortunately, just got edged out 4-3 in the Jason Owen Open a minute ago. But I guess this one will be the one he's more concerned about.
So looking at the way the quarter-final is lining up, it's Neil Rayburn against Dave Fernandez, John McAllister against Jack Whelan, Aaron Davies against Clint Hansen, Tom Cousins against Adam Davis. Tom Cousins really lucky to come through his match against Matt Briley. Matt had 2 shots on the black, needed to get the black out to develop it, underhit it by a country mile and didn't leave himself a shot. So Tom pounced, very lucky in a hill game. Tom had already made a couple of mistakes prior to that, so got out of jail free. So given that lineup, I mean, that's literally a who's who of pool. Several world champions in there, including the current world champion, John McAllister, Jack Whelan, Aaron Davis, Tom Cousins, Adam Davis. I mean, it's an incredible lineup. And who's your pick?
Yeah, it's hard to say, isn't it? I mean, wow, from what we said, John McAllister looked good and Jack Whelan looked very solid when we saw him play. Tom Cousins you'd normally have as your favourite, but he does look to have been a little bit fallible, and he's showing glimpses of his old self, but been a couple of moments where he's scraped through matches. But actually, I mean, well, I'm truly sitting on the fence by this point, but Clint Hansen was pretty impressive when we saw him yesterday as well.
Yeah, so Wade put me on the spot during the last match, and I'd chosen the winner of that current match and the winner of Clint Phil Harrison to make the final. So I was going for a John McAllister Clint Hansen final. And that looks like it's still got potential. I think Clint has been playing very well this weekend. He's got his eye on the prize.
Yeah, that was a beautiful nudge off that ball. This has landed absolutely plumb on the difficult one. Yeah, I think that's the right way to put it, eye on the prize. He looked very focused even in the early rounds that we were commentating on yesterday. Got world champions from both codes, of course, world rules and black ball. Ultimately, at this level, there's actually not that much between it. Most of the time they're dishing or reverse dishing, so rules don't make too much difference.
Just a little awkward that he's got to cue over the ball, but I think there's enough space between the black and the cue ball that, yeah, well, there you go. Ultimately, that was the difference between potting the ball and not potting the ball. And I thought it was just a tiny bit careless. You see him swinging his arm there, just to maybe there's a little bit of stiffness in it, but I thought it was a tiny bit careless, leaving himself hampered there. I don't think that's actually what he was trying to do. I think he was just trying to get a little further across the table, so he could have taken the one down the left rail.
Yeah, he needed access to the bottom of the cue ball, so he had to really dig down to try and screw back. And see from the position of the white, he was quite a long way away from the position as well. So nice spot for Aaron here. Always nice to be left in when your opponent's moved a few balls.
Yeah.
And also after that, I was just saying, the heartbreak of the 4-3 we saw on this table a moment ago, he'll be keen to make amends. I only saw the end of that match, but he looked like he was playing okay. I guess just got edged out in that decider.
Yeah, well, Chris was 3-1 up and he really let Aaron back in. So, yeah. He desperately won't want to lose back-to-back matches and be out of both events, you know, within basically an hour of each other. So really needs to focus and knuckle down in this one. To be fair, he didn't have a great deal of chances in the lot. Chris did play quite well.
So just the simple stuff. It's amazing, isn't it? No matter how many times you watch Aaron Davies play, it strikes you just how far off centre he sights the cue. You see some people sight under one eye or another, but this is to the next level, isn't it?
And he doesn't even sight it with his left eye, does he? It's outside of his left eye. It's almost to his ear. It's incredible.
It just looks so awkward. I mean, he obviously finds it comfortable, but it just feels like it would be so uncomfortable. So Clint to break off in frame 2. No doubt feeling that he should have won that frame, but for that position of shot where he left himself slightly hampered and the consequent miss. It's often the way, like when someone's a bit annoyed, they just put a little bit more power into it. Sometimes it's a good thing, but sometimes he just lost control of the white. At first glance, these reds have turned out pretty nice for Aaron.
See that break again. Cue ball, wow, it flew to that side rail, hopped in the air. And,
yeah, I mean the actual in-off you could say was unlucky because it got kicked off, but it was pretty out of control before.
Yeah. That was about as hard as you can hit a cut break without losing the ball off the table.
Really, if you're going to play a cut break, I'm not sure it is about the power for the most part. There's a bit of a maximum to how much you can realistically put in and achieve anything from it. So for the second time, Aaron Davies coming to the table with a kind of handy opening situation, obviously ball in hand, so you can choose which order to go about it. The ball's pretty open. I mean, what he's thinking about here obviously isn't the opening shots. The several balls up this end of the table are easy enough. He's just thinking about how to get position on the marginally more difficult ones.
So this is the only match. Oh, what a kiss.
Yeah, I mean, that's a bit careless, to be fair, because with ball in hand, he'd spent quite a lot of time thinking about that positional shot and then did the very thing he couldn't afford to do.
I was just about to say that this is the only quarter-final match that's in play at the moment. All of the other tables are populated at the moment. I think the problem is some of the players in the quarter-final are still playing in the Jason Owen. All the tables are currently in progress. 28 tables. I can't see one that's free, to be honest. Maybe one, but very busy at the moment. And Rob Warren's just edged out Adam Davis in the open. Jack Whelan playing Jamie Graham. Tom Cousins back in action against Jimmy Croxton. So these are all your quarter-finalists. John McAllister playing Neil Randall. They're currently 4 apiece. In fact, forgive me, I forgot. It's actually now a race to 5, isn't it? I was thinking it was still a race to 4, but it's gone up to a race to 5 now in round 4. So Rob Warren's actually on the hill against Adam Davis.
Yeah, there's no real solution to this. This seems like the problem you always have if you run 2 knockout tournaments in parallel, because by definition the same good players tend to do well in both. I mean, obviously a nice problem for the players to have, but does cause some scheduling headaches. The plan originally was to play the quarterfinals an hour and a half delayed already. The final was meant to be at 10 o'clock tonight, but I think we can fairly safely say we're not going to be on track for that. So having knocked this red safe earlier on in the clearance, he's now forced to play it long, which is a more difficult shot, although it looks like he has got an open pocket for it. So just this one semi-difficult pot, and then frames at his mercy if it goes in. Yeah, always wide, that one. I mean, he gave it a chance with the pace he played it at, but still, it was too far wide of the pocket.
Expected him to pot that, I must admit.
It seemed a little bit tentative. I mean, obviously at that pace it's more likely to go in, but it's a bit harder to cue it truly if you play it at that pace. There's a bit of a reprieve from Clint's perspective. Well, obviously not an ideal position. The yellow on the left-hand side doesn't look like it pots past the red, so he's going to have to double that or move it. So there's going to be a bit of a break for whoever wins this match. As Nick says, this is the first of the quarterfinals to get started, so whoever goes through will have a little bit of a break before their semi-final. And some of these players literally have been playing all day. Jason Owen Open started at 9 AM, so for those that are still in both tournaments, they've played a couple of rounds of that, then a couple of rounds of this tournament, then back to the Open again.
Yeah, some of the players have literally been just jumping from table to table with no break. It's a brutal day, you know. Considering yesterday, a lot of the players would maybe have only played 2 matches, and suddenly today, Saturday is a very busy day if you're doing well.
It's one of those times when you could say that physical fitness comes into it. It's very easy, obviously, to look at pool and say it's not the most athletically demanding sport. But if you're on your feet, well, you're on your feet for 12 hours, but also the concentration for 12 hours.
Talking about world champions, Amy Beauchamp, who's just down to our right-hand side. Current world champion, I believe. Is she the current IPA world champion? I think Amy is.
I want to say she's the current WPF world champion.
Oh, what am I saying? Yeah, of course it is, yeah. Who's, yes, she is.
I think she won. It's been, I think the slight hesitation is the fact that the tournament hasn't been held for 2 years because of COVID.
Problem,
so
yeah.
Thinking back to 2019, right? I'm pretty sure she won.
Yeah, she did. I remember watching the final.
Oh, nice great shot there from Clint. And actually a really good clearance. Well, we've been talking about other stuff. He's been quietly going about quite a tricky finish.
Yeah. And it's a case of missed chances.
Yeah, well, I think of the 2 players, Clint will be happier with the 1-1 scoreline.
Yes.
It could very easily have been 2-0 the way the match has gone.
Yeah, I think Aaron fancied his chances in the last, but has come up short. And will that play a factor later in this match? Time will tell. I think Clint has been on a rich vein of form throughout this weekend, so Aaron is going to have to play at his best. He's definitely got the game. He's certainly one of the strong players in the field. Given the lineup, he probably won't be one of the hot favourites with the bookies, with some of the others still in it, but definitely more than capable of winning this.
Yeah, he's won some big stuff recently. He's kind of in the reckoning now for these kind of big tournaments. Going to change of personnel in the commentary box. Welcome to Wade Morley. He's stepping in while Nick pops out for dinner.
Good evening, Mark. How you doing?
Very good. Good to see you. Have you had a chance to watch much of this, or have you been playing all day?
I played a couple of games this morning. Lost 4-3 again. Keep losing deciders. But yeah, I've been hanging about the arena, watching a few games. Standard's been very good today. Well, all weekend.
Yeah, it really has. We were saying yesterday, it used to be when we streamed games on a Friday night that it was a bit tricky to find a good quality game. They were often one-sided, but yesterday, I mean, they were just world champion v world champion. There were just so many good matches.
Yeah, I mean, the standard of players this weekend, it's just incredible. It always is. Even the lower standard players, I mean, you call them lower standard players, but they're not. You know, there's a lot of names out there that you probably wouldn't have heard of, and they're beating some of the top boys. It just shows that the game's going in the right direction. I think there's going to be a lot of names come through over the next year or two, where you know they're going to be beating these top players week in, week out. I know I was speaking to Tom Cousins yesterday, and he was saying that some of the new players that are coming through, they actually don't want to draw them. No, whereas it used to be the case of we don't want to draw them. So.
Yeah, it's really changed it having an open draw as well. Like, you know, back in the day with this tour and with other ones, it often used to be a seeded draw. So you'd have the amateurs kind of play each other and then play off against the pro. But here,
Yeah.
well, whether you call them pros or whether you call them top amateurs, they're playing each other in the first round.
Yeah, it makes it more interesting. You know, like you said, just about the Friday evenings, you get in the tough games and the good games all the way through, as opposed to the latter stages of the competition, which is good.
No, it's great just to see so many players. I mean, this room's amazing. Our commentary position is a beautiful vantage point above the 28 tables looking down the room. I can't think of any tournaments I've played in England, apart from sort of holiday camp ones where county finals and stuff. You just don't ever see this many tables in one room normally.
No, I mean, I'm sat up here with you, and you can actually see every table and the players which are on it, which I just think that's incredible.
Yeah, you've picked a good day to do some commentary. We spend a lot of our lives stuck in cupboards and corridors when we're trying to stay out of the way and have somewhere quiet, but this is the perfect vantage point.
Yeah, I mean, I jumped on the comms earlier with Nick. It was my first time trying it, so, you know, it is new to me, so everybody will have to bear with me. But at least Nick can be relieved to go and get his food now.
That's the important priority. Yeah, he's put in a decent shift today. We started the coverage at 9:45, I think, this morning, so been a long day, and it could be a pretty long day. I'm not sure actually if we will play the final tonight. Last time we ended up having to hold it over until the Sunday.
What time is it scheduled for? 10 o'clock, is it?
Yeah, scheduled for 10, but then this match was scheduled for 5:30, so I wouldn't say we're quite on track at the moment.
Yeah. Like Nick said earlier on, a lot of the players that are still in the main are in the J Snowing Open as well. So I guess it's tough to get certain games on. So we're going to run behind, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get the good players doing well in both tournaments. That's sort of two open draws, so it's bound to be that way.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we've got the three-man team kicking off at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Yeah, that looks good. I've never played in that myself. Been told it's really, really good. You know, I've not actually had a chance to look at the draw. Have you looked at the draw? See any super teams?
There are a few. I haven't looked at the draw, but when I was playing earlier, they were announcing it in the background. I was playing, so I wasn't really paying attention, but you could occasionally hear a few names you recognised in a row, so there's definitely a few good teams in there. I mean, that's great, because it's all about the draw, really, because your own team is randomly drawn, and then who you're playing is randomly drawn, so there's some really tasty matches, potentially.
Yeah.
It's a good format as well, like 3v3, best of 9, everybody plays everyone. Is
that what it is?
Yeah. Like one team stays in order 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, and then the other one switches their order around.
No, that sounds good.
There's a different tension about playing in a team somehow. Like if you're playing for yourself and it's a longer match, you tend to be pretty relaxed. Those of us that have played on this for a long time, but
well, you're only letting yourself down.
Yeah, like extra pressure when you're letting your teammates down.
Yeah. What's happened in the first couple of frames here then?
Well, so I mean, it's been a bit topsy-turvy. Basically, Aaron should be 2-0 up. Clint had in off the break in the second. Aaron was in a pretty easy opportunity, and then kind of knocked a ball safe, and then ultimately missed it. So Clint stepped in with a good clearance. So I think Clint will be happy of the two players with the scoreline.
Aaron looks like he's got a good chance here on yellows. I think it's all about the last yellow down the rail. Depends what angle he can leave himself to get over for the black.
Yeah, exactly. It should be easy enough to get a position on the yellow, but he may not want it dead straight if he needs to get out for the black.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's going for this one first as well. I thought he might have gone for the one over the middle and then used this to get down the table to the one on the cushion.
Yeah, that looks the more natural shot, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, see, I don't like this. He's screwing straight towards the middle bag.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he wants to kind of aim for where that red is, leave it short of the middle bag. But
anything
still,
just past the red, think is okay.
Yeah, you're right. It's never great when the line you're on is kind of tracking towards something bad at the end of it.
It's so easy just to underhit these. We'll see what he does. Oh, there we go. That's not great.
No,
I didn't like that.
No, well, there was a big margin for error. If you play it the other way around, you can be anywhere in the middle of the table and still have a good shot at the one to the corner.
Yeah.
I mean, this is actually going to be the tale of he played one bad positional shot effectively in the last frame.
Is it total snookered, or can you see it? Because if you can see it, he's got a chance of potting it if it possibly cushion first.
Yeah, I mean, he can come at it with some left-hand side cushion first, but the white's going to be flying around. Is he digging down slightly to bend them?
I mean, if he does have to bend it round, it's a very, very tough shot.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough shot. Even with that, well, I mean, it's a good effort, but not quite good enough. Although, actually, it's not the worst leave.
No, it's not the worst. I think Clint can get through to the potting angle to this red into the left centre. Like the white's going to be going up and down the table, though, so he needs to control it well. I think if Clint can chip this into the middle bag, pending where he leaves the cue ball, I think he could be on for oh, he's going for the other way, he's going for the snooker.
I mean, that's actually a good shot. That looked kind of easy played like that, but you can really mess those ones up and pop the white out.
No, he's played it really well. I don't like it, Mark, because if he pots this, if he catches the bottom cushion first, the white's naturally going to be coming up to the top of the table. Anything past in line with the black spot, and you know he's got a fairly simple cut for these boys.
Yeah, like you, I thought he could chip that one in the middle, and it felt like there was quite a lot of things he could leave, and then he could always have played a snooker if he wasn't in prime position.
Yeah, but then we're sat up here,
yeah,
and them boys are down there. So,
I mean, he's certainly odds on to hit this, and I guess therefore odds on to pot it. He's not really odds on to get perfect position though, so I guess that's what we're. Yeah, that was.
No, he needed to catch the bottom cushion first, didn't he? Does it double, do you think? He's having a good look.
Yeah, it's quite tight, isn't it, to get the white out the way?
The thing is, like I was speaking to Nick about these cloths earlier. They slide. They're very reactive and slidey. So I think playing this hard, it's straightening up. I think if you play it soft, he could probably go into the red. So it's a bit of a mid-pace double, I think.
Yeah, actually, from this angle, I thought looking down at the table it might double kiss. Actually, I don't think it will from this angle, but yeah, it's tight, isn't it?
As I say, with these cloths, he can actually play it slow, play it at a different angle. So as we look at the table now, as opposed to playing the normal potting angle, he can play it maybe an inch to the right, which will give him more of an angle to come out into the centre. If that makes sense?
Yeah.
They just slide.
They are reactive tables, though. I mean, I was talking to Nick about this earlier. I mean, I think they're less slippery than some of the ones we've used on the tour in previous years. You can kind of get hold of the white a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing. I really like the cloths. I think they're really, really good.
I'm not sure I'm totally sold on the colour, but I'm definitely sold on the cloth itself. Yeah, it looks like he's coming off the cushion. Oh, wow. For a moment, it looked like he'd flicked off that red. Although, I mean, actually, this is probably a more difficult opening pot than Clint turned down in the previous occasion. I mean, he's going to have to, well, not going to have to go for it, but you assume he would go for it.
I think he'll take that left to the red to the left of the free into the top corner and possibly run through for the red on the top rail. I mean, the only other option he's got is snookering. If he can chip that red on the right rail out and push the white through a couple of inches.
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, yeah, I mean, he's obviously going to do that. I think the fact that it's not very likely that Aaron will pot the ball out of this snooker. He's very likely to hit it, but it's not in a great place to pot it from that angle. And actually just running into it isn't really going to do him any favours because he's going to leave Clint well in amongst the red.
I mean, he's played a good shot there. You know, he's snookered him. He's brought his bad ball out.
Yeah, showing good patience here. It's always horrible, this position, isn't it? When you miss the black, you're just chasing it around the table. It never gets any easier.
just wonder, Mark, whether he could play the cocked hat. So off the bottom right rail as we look now, and then off the right hand rail, again around that. Oh, there we go. Yeah. But again, you know, with it being slidey, he's got to play this really well. He could slide past it. No, he slid past it. Yeah.
Yeah, good call though, Wade. That was good thinking to go that route, because going just the 1 or 2 cushions off the bottom, he was never going to pot it. At least that way he gave himself a chance.
Well, I think going that way as well, you've got more room for error if you get the line right.
Either way, 2 shots from here, and this is going to be the end of this frame.
Yeah, I think Clint's played a really good frame here. But like you said, very patient.
Yeah, I think he had a bit of a warning, the fact that he could easily have gone 2 behind. I think that's just reminded him he needs to be a bit careful in this match.
Yeah.
I mean, not that he knows perfectly well how good Aaron is. It doesn't need a reminder, but
No, Aaron's playing well. How did he do in the last round of the Jason Owen Open? Do you know?
he lost 4-3. It was on the stream table. He lost to Chris Day in the decider. Chris made a good clearance in the decider.
I started off on the commentary for it, and then I just nipped off for some food. I wasn't sure which way that game would go, to be honest.
Not sure if it was an upgrade or a downgrade, but Nick got Cole Morris for company after you left. Different analysis.
Yeah, he's a character, Carl is. Lovely bloke.
Yeah, lovely guy. Lovely to see him able to do some commentary. This is his first time, he was saying, this weekend. He's just got a hearing implant, so it makes him a bit easier for him to do this stuff than it used to.
Yeah, was there any interaction with the implants?
He seemed to be okay with, he evidently really enjoyed it, and he was good at it, so it seems to have worked well.
Well, he knows the game inside out, doesn't he? So I don't think there's many people better at choosing routes than Carl.
No, nice to see him back. He's been away from the tour for quite a few years. There's actually quite a few sort of old faces that used to play on this tour back in the day. Nice to see them back. And as you were saying, lots of up-and-coming young players as well coming through. Yourself included. Is this your first year on the tour?
Yeah, first year. I've been back playing 2 years. But then obviously lockdown hit. So
yeah, there's a strange 2 years to have been back.
Yeah, I've pretty much been practicing by myself at home, that's it. Other than I think we've had 4 tour events this year now.
Yeah, this is the second one of this tour. Got 3 coming up in pretty quick succession.
Black. Oh my God.
Well, that's the result, isn't it?
Clint just looked over to Aaron, and Aaron had a little smile there.
I mean, that's a hell of a result. He'd have given 2 shots away in what looked a pretty open position.
Yeah, they opened really well. I had to put my life on Aaron getting them.
I mean, those are 2 sort of weird rules. You don't very often see somebody knock the ball off the table, and you don't very often see the black potted. 2 weird rules to happen.
If somebody knocks the white off the table on the break, it's usually because they've hit them bad. It seems to hit them well. So he might have got a kick or something off the first ball and made it jump.
I think if you're playing a cut break like that, I guess if you just cue down on it, because you're driving the ball over to the cushion, like if it's not absolutely flat on the table,
it bounces,
doesn't
it? Yeah.
So it was a bit careless to knock the. I mean, yeah, we've all done it obviously, but it's a bit careless to knock the ball off the table. So second go at it. I mean, if you're being critical of the rules, it's actually a bit of a silly rule that the fact that black's gone in. Normally, the fact that black goes in and you start again makes sense, but when you've already fouled, it seems a bit fortuitous.
Yeah. Look at this throw break as well.
Yeah, 3 yellows down.
Whenever I knock the black in off the break, the next one it's always dry.
Yeah. Whereas, I mean, that time he was delighted. There are times you get a really good break and then the black falls in, and yeah, as you say, you come up dry the next time and you come to rue it.
Yeah.
So, a pretty quick visit, you'd imagine, given he's already potted 3 at the ball.
Yeah, I think this was the key shot in this frame for me. Just stunning across into the middle of the table and landing himself straight on the red next to the yellow, so he can follow through for the yellow over the bottom corner. And if he gets a nice angle on that, he can just drop off the side rail and up for the black into the top left.
Yeah, just got to judge this one. There's a reasonably small area that would be perfect. He's pretty good.
He looks just off straight, but I think he could possibly just miss the red.
Yeah, either just miss the red, or I guess if you're going to hit the red, you want to just play it firmly and make sure you've properly cannon it. Don't just brush into it.
Nice, no.
Well,
he hit the other red.
Yeah, I was going to say that wasn't the red I was talking about. I don't know what. Yeah, sometimes because the white is a bit smaller, it sometimes bounces back a bit if you hit it hard. Yeah, I didn't see that problem coming. I thought maybe he'd get mixed up with the second red, but I didn't see him getting stuck off the first one.
In a similar situation here to the last frame, if he can come off the side cushion and then the bottom cushion, the natural angle is to go up the table for the black. I fancy him to get quite close to this. There we go, that's perfect.
Yeah, good
It's a
shot.
great shot.
And he played it at the right pace. You've got to give yourself a chance to get on the black if you do pot it.
Yeah,
It's a bit of a let-off there, though, isn't it?
yeah, it is.
Just give your opponent false hope for a moment. They're thinking, "Oh, this will be okay."
Yeah, I must admit, Mark, I did say I fancied him for that one. I've seen him do that many a times.
Yeah, just luckily for him, it just finished in a good spot to play it that way. Well, so this is kind of annoying scoreline. Aaron Davies had basically a shot to go 2-0 up, and now he finds himself 3-1 down. So scores around the rest of the room. Lee Smith leading John Morn by 3 frames to 2. Jimmy Croxton 4-2 up against Tom Cousins.
Is this in the Jason Owen Open, is it?
Yeah, it is playing
First to 5
first
now.
to 5 now.
Yeah, Jimmy Croxton's been playing well of late. Jack Whelan beating Jamie Graham 4-1. Jack's been playing well as well this weekend.
Yeah, some big names still in that one.
First to 5s, they are short races, aren't they? It's not as bad as first to 4s, man, but
Yeah, it all happens. I mean, I suppose the plus side is you never kind of out of a match, even if your opponent's 2 or 3 ahead. But yeah, it can all happen pretty quickly. So important frame this. He doesn't want to go 4-1 behind. Big difference between 4-1 and 3-2.
didn't seem to get a great connection on that then, Mark.
No, that's not split up. I don't know if he didn't hit it right or didn't rack it right, but they've not split up too nicely.
No. Bit of an awkward lead for Clint as well. I think the only ball he can pot is the yellow at the top. Will he be going for it?
I think he's going to be very tempted. No, has he left the one down the right-hand side cushion?
No. There we go, the pleasure of being in a good position in the comms box. We can just poke our heads up and see the table.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, from the camera. Well, I mean, it does look like it's from the camera angle, but sometimes that can be deceptive. But
yeah, he's definitely not on that. He might be able to swerve it, but
yeah,
I don't think he'll be going for
that.
that.
I don't think he's going to be tempted. I mean, the only thing is, yellows do look pretty good at, well, better of the two, so you would be keen to get those if you could.
The thing is, I don't think he's going to be wanting to play safe off this, because the reds aren't too bad either.
No, well, I mean, there isn't really particularly obvious safety even from where he is. But then, I mean, the only pot is the one on the baulk cushion.
And the white's going a bit mental as well.
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
a bit low percentage, I think. I mean, he can skim off this red and try and get the white safe, but there's not that many places on the table where you wouldn't leave a pot.
Coming off it and trying to go behind the yellow.
Yeah, I mean, that seems the only realistic target. Well, this is no good at all.
No.
I mean, that sounds critical. It wasn't a particularly easy position.
No, I think we'll see Clint topping this through and trying to get onto the side rail. Oh no, I'm surprised with that, Mark.
Yeah, I'm astonished with that. Well,
It seems like we might be at a bit of a stalemate then in this frame. I thought he might have tried to play that and top it through onto the white onto the left side cushion, and then the yellow at the bottom left corner near the red. Thought he might have potted that and stunned into the yellow in between the reds.
I don't understand. I mean, I guess he wants to be reds, does he? I can't see any reason you wouldn't have taken that if you were happy being yellow.
Well, that's changed things.
Yes, got a few balls lined up at bottom left. This has been a strange passage of play. It's kind of one of those tactical spots you don't see very often in a frame where the table stays open for this long.
I think we could be here for a while in this frame.
Yeah, it's not often you have this many shots before a colour's even been decided. Well, you got to feel once somebody's in. I mean, the balls are a bit clustered together, but there are none stuck over pockets, so it could develop quite quickly. We actually haven't seen that much tactical play this weekend. It's been pretty open. Well, it's like a frame of snooker at the moment. Everyone's just trying to get the ball back to ball.
I think with a couple of good shots, the frame could be very open though.
Well, yeah, neither of them seem too tempted by a pot right now. Though. I'm a bit lost as to what's happened in this frame. I mean, if you wanted to be yellows, that felt a more difficult one than the one he turned down a moment ago. Almost gets a bit contagious after a while. One player starts missing or starts playing cagily and the other one joins you.
Yeah. Send a ref down, offer a re-rack.
Yes. Yeah, well, yeah, from this position we can shout down and offer some advice to him. I think, as I say, once the colour is decided, I think this will get resolved, but a very odd passage of play in the meantime. Yeah, is there a plant? Paul just asking if there's a plant, the yellow, red, yellow that are clustered together below the black.
I think it needs making.
I mean, that would.
I think it can be made.
That would definitely open things up, wouldn't it? Yeah, good shout, Paul. Well, that's opened the frame up. That could save us a bit of time.
Get yourself in the next one, Paul.
Not too late to enter the three-man team. We can ask around for you to find you a place. The thing about that three-man team is that there's always some player ends up going missing, and then they're always like a player short on the morning.
Yeah. Somebody that's out of both and they're sick and they just want to go home.
I think maybe a bit less likely this weekend. It feels like most people have probably come for the weekend and have got the 3 nights booked at the hotel. I mean, the hotel's so fully booked. Lots of people had to be turfed out. 30 people have had to go to another hotel down the road.
Have they? I didn't know that.
Lots of people had to. I mean, it wasn't a hardship for me because I live relatively locally, but I did have a room booked and I had to give that up because there weren't enough rooms left. So.
Oh, I'm not quite as lucky. We got the coach down on Thursday night. We left Middlesbrough at 10 o'clock Thursday night. We got into London at 6:30 in the morning.
That's not the ideal prep, isn't it? And there was a long queue of people waiting to check in at 3 o'clock, so I'm imagining you weren't able to check in early.
No, we didn't get the room. And to top it off, a group of kids got on at Birmingham and they were shouting and screaming all night, so yeah.
Is Birmingham even on the way down from Middlesbrough to London?
No, I think we travelled the country on the way.
Yeah, that doesn't seem the most direct route.
The coach went from, he went Middlesbrough, Leeds, Hull, Birmingham, London International Airport.
Yeah, that's
all because I didn't want to drive.
Yeah, I mean it's a long drive in fairness. I can see you thinking.
It was a bargain, to be fair. It was £50 return.
Well, I feel like that. I live about 6 tube stops away. I feel like this is payback. I've driven to Blackpool a lot of times over the years playing in pool tournaments, which is a pretty lengthy drive from here. So payback to have one locally.
Yeah, that's a lovely shot by Aaron there.
You must have to do quite a lot of travelling because Middlesbrough's kind of a long way from a lot of places.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Coventry, the last one, that was a bit of a trek. Even Blackpool's 2.5 hours. So.
Although I think this year everyone's just kind of happy to be back playing pool. Certainly at the Blackpool tournament, which was, remember that one, it was kind of when the government restrictions were just in the process of being lifted.
It's just got a tricky shot here, that yellow down to the bottom left corner. If you can come across the table twice and land straight on the red next to the yellow, that'd be perfect. It needs to be straight. Yeah, he's fine there. That's a lovely shot.
Yeah, that's a good shot, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot that could go wrong with that. And if he'd have left the angle the other way, he'd have risked cannoning the red. Like, if anything, the fact that the white's sort of going free up the table, that's exactly what he wanted.
Yeah, he can play this plain ball now and just run through a couple of foot.
What do you make of Aaron's cue action? Like, you just feel compelled to comment on the fact that he just cues so far over to the side.
Yeah, well, me and Nick were speaking about it earlier on. There's not many people that cue like that, and I can't understand how it works, but it does.
No, I mean the answer is, in results terms, it's a great cue action, but it's just, if you look at it, it just looks so awkward, doesn't it? I mean,
Right, here we go. There's a perfect shot for it.
I mean, he must literally have spent his whole life with commentators and friends and family and opponents, everybody telling him this. So I'm sure he's well and truly fed up with it. But
He must have been a pirate when he was younger and had a patch on all his younger years.
It's not even just under the eye, though, is it? It's like outside both eyes.
Yeah.
Anyway, who are we to criticise, as you say? He's playing in the quarterfinals and we're talking about it. Well, I'm not that we were criticising, but just observing that it looks different from some.
Yeah, well, he's been playing really well as late, hasn't he? He's been getting deep in a lot of the competitions. You know, he's always popping up there in the last 16 and the quarters.
Yeah, I mean, he's sort of been around a while and he's played for England, but yeah, I mean, it feels like the last couple of years, or sort of before COVID, he was really pressing on and suddenly was a serious contender for a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you're not surprised to see him in semi-finals and finals.
No, it's nice. I mean, you often get players like that spend a few years sort of a really good player, but then they just have some breakthrough and then they suddenly start winning even more prolifically.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Whelan did the same, didn't he? He was always there or thereabouts, and then he won the Worlds, and then he seemed to drop off and didn't really do anything for a couple of years. I know he's got work commitments and the children and stuff, family life, but I think he's starting to play again now.
Yeah, I mean, I think this pattern is pretty common. You often see people in their 20s play all the time, and then maybe in their 30s settle down and have kids, and then perhaps come back to it a bit later on when the kids are older. I mean, there's no substitute for just playing in tournaments all the time. Like, you just need to cut your teeth, play lots of different people. I think COVID's been quite good for a lot of people in different ways. Like, some people have used it to just practice a lot on their own. Some people have used it for a break but have come back refreshed. But basically, the common factor seems to be everyone's pleased to be back.
Yeah, I agree. It's been good for some people. I think some people not so good, but I mean, I learned some things about my partner I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a strange year in many ways. So it does feel like we're coming out of that period at least. How long may that continue? Yeah, I think a lot of people spent a lot more time at home. Yeah, either cemented relationships or break them, I suspect, for a lot of people. Did you have access to a table during lockdown, or did you have to have a break?
I built a pool room at home in the back garden. 7.5 metres by 5.5 metres, got a bar and stuff in there, so yeah, I've got access to it, but if I didn't build that, then I wouldn't have.
That's a pretty unsurprising solution to your club being closed.
Yeah, I mean, I'd only just started playing, as I said earlier, so I was a bit annoyed that we couldn't go out and practice and play. So my partner said, why don't you build one? She didn't have to ask me twice. So I think she said it so she could have a bar.
You literally did the handiwork yourself, did you?
Yeah, I got a joiner in to do a little bit of the stud work, but I did the rest. Got an electrician in for the electrical work, so obviously it's got to be signed off and right. Yeah, just looking over there on table 3, Dave Fernandez has just missed a very simple shot. I think he's 1-0 down at the moment. Yeah, 1-0 down to Neil Raybone. Tom Cousins and Adam Davies has just started on table 22. That's still 0-0.
Yeah, I was chatting to Dave last night. He's one of the ones that's gone the other way, saying he hadn't really played much. He's got a 3-year-old boy and got some other commitments. So I think he'd, in a way, been welcoming the break. He was saying his last match before this weekend was the final of the European Championships just before COVID. So in a way, that was quite good, sort of signing off on a high and then give it a break for a while.
Yeah, I've not seen Dave for years, and I knew him when I was a teenager when he lived in Derby, through county and whatnot. Not seen him for years, and then seen him obviously Friday. Had a nice catch up with him. Very good player, Dave.
Yeah, very good player and a nice lad. One of those guys you're always pleased to see at a tournament.
Yeah, he's always the life and soul of the party, isn't he?
Yeah, I remember I did some commentary with him once, and these trays of drinks just kept appearing in the commentary box. God knows where they're all coming from, but he was well supplied during the match.
Yeah, that sounds like Dave. Well, Aaron's got a good chance here to make it 3 apiece. A little delicate one into the middle bag. These aren't as easy as they look on the screens, though.
No, they're really not. Although these tables just run really true. You're just going to just aim for the middle of the pocket and let gravity do its work, basically. I think 3 apiece is probably a fair scoreline on the basis of what we've seen so far. First to 7 still at this stage. It goes to best of 15, first to 8 for the semi-finals.
It's cute, that one, lovely. Just a soft little delicate one.
Yes, it's been a solid finish, hasn't it? So
Yeah, I'm tied up at 3 apiece, and it's Aaron to break the next, so Aaron's back on serve.
yeah, I mean, there's been a few frames that could have gone either way. It could have been quite a different scoreline, but I guess they'll ultimately both be kind of okay with where they've ended up. Still so much pool going on. Like sometimes by the end of Saturday night, some of the matches are coming to a close, but there's still pretty much all 28 tables in play at the moment.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to finish anytime soon, to be honest.
No, there's the ladies' tournament is going on in parallel. That's occupying maybe a third of the tables. Jason Owen Open in play, and then we've still got the 3 other quarterfinals, of course, of this event. So Aaron Davies stepping up to break in frame 7. Seen a few different breaks. What's your preference? Head on, or do you play the cut break?
On these tables, head on. If it's a blue Strachan 861 nap or anything napless, I tend to go for the cut break. But when the tables are as good as these, you can just head. I mean, look at that.
Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah, my answer would have been almost exactly the same. I couldn't agree more.
Just the movement you can get on the pack if you time the ball well on these cloths, it's just.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they've done differently for this. I mean, it's the same manufacturer as the one we've used on the tour for a lot of years, but I do prefer this one. It's just a bit grippier and a bit less slippery than the predecessor one.
Yeah, they can be too slippy, can't they?
Yeah, I mean, those really fast ones, they're fun and you can play some crazy shots on them, but actually they're so slippery that sometimes you're trying to check a ball off a cushion with check side. Like sometimes you're not quite sure if it's going to take, whereas these ones you're actually reasonably confident it will.
Yeah, even down to so you can have like a just off straight shot to the far left corner, for example, and you play it harder, and it'll push off the angle because it's that slidey, only by an inch or so. But obviously you're missing it, so you're kind of guessing. You don't want to be guessing. Yeah.
No, you do not want to be guessing.
No. They're a little bit awkward here, both sets.
Yeah, red's his choice, but a few problems, aren't there? The one's clustered at the bottom of the table. There's this one on the right-hand side.
I think he might be looking at going into that now, Mark. Whether he's going to play this red into the left centre and come down.
Yeah, it's one of those ones there's not that much margin for error, is there? It's quite easy just to clip the black in your wave pass.
Yeah, or slide past the yellow.
Yeah.
Red full ball would be perfect. No, decided against it. I'm not sure that red goes, to be honest. I think he might be alright. Looking down at the table.
Yeah, it's tight, isn't it?
Well, that doesn't help.
Looked at 2 camera angles of the table itself and we're still none the wiser. Anyway, regardless of whether that one goes, the one tied up at the bottom of the table.
Yeah, that definitely doesn't go.
Yeah.
Definitely requires some attention.
May have the angle to give it some attention here. think that's probably the best he could do. I mean, it's not ideal. Obviously, the white's got stuck here, but it was always going to be hard to get it out and get the white out.
Well, I think if that red doesn't go, he might have the option just to go into it here. I know it doesn't look like it on the screen, but looking down at the actual table.
Yeah, that would be wafer thin, wouldn't it? Or can you see that? Is he going to go for the one on the bolt line? Can you see that?
No, he's having to go for that. It was a tough shot, this one.
Yeah, this is. If you could have seen the one on the bolt line, it was an easier pot and easier position. This is very awkward.
So he did go for the pot there, but he's played it in such a way where he'd get the bag. Unfortunately, I think Clint can actually see that yellow next to the red.
Yeah, he's left it in such a way he doesn't really need the bag.
No, and he can drop onto his bad ball there, and all the rest go. And I think where that red's landed, it actually leaves a big bag for the yellow, for the toughish yellow, which is on the side rail.
No, he's going to go a different way. He's going to go down and then play the yellow up the cushion.
Yeah, he's going to... See, I think I'd have preferred to clear them top ones first. Yes, to hit this yellow to the top bag, but possibly the last ball.
Yeah, maybe he had more angle than we... I mean, to me, it looked the natural one to take the ones at the top.
Well, now he has to clear the red, so he's going to have to play it off the red, and it's missable.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of a big pocket from some angles, but it's not one of those ones that is unmissable, is it?
You want to be straight behind this, really.
And if you miss the red, it's actually a real mess because the ball's still covering the pocket.
The yellow doesn't go, but I think he's all right. I think he's got the angle just to top into the top rail and then into the yellow, maybe quarter ball.
Yeah, and the fact he's got this ball over the left-hand centre makes that a whole lot easier because he doesn't need position.
It does, but ideally he wants to be playing this one, flicking the yellow near the red out and staying on that yellow. You don't really want to be going from the yellow at the top down the table. It'd be much easier if you can get to the last yellow off the yellow next to the side middle.
Yeah, absolutely. The one over the middle is a kind of save.
I was going in the opposite corner.
Yeah, well, that's all right. That makes it much easier.
Didn't look as straight as that.
No, this is where this camera angle's frequently deceptive. You look at that and think the red would be in the way of this shot. Yeah, so as you say now, you can pot this one top left and then the one over the middle pocket affords very natural position to the one on the bottom cushion.
He's got a lovely cue action, Clint has.
Yeah, it's a bit easier on the eye at first glance than Aaron's, isn't it? It's just all a bit more sort of lined up, although not much to choose them in between them in pure effectiveness. Yeah, it's very sort of effortless cue action, isn't it? It's quite easy as he gets through the ball.
Yeah, that's perfect. Lovely shot there by Clint.
So still not going to be much to choose between the players, just the odd frame is going to separate them one way or the other after the first 7.
Dave Fernandez has levelled things up against Neil Rayburn at 1-1.
Yeah, but another couple of players that are probably not in the sort of top half dozen of the betting, but I mean, both of those are capable tournament winners.
Well, Dave Fernandez went from 33-1 into, I think he's at 4-1 now, so I think he might have had a few punters on him.
Yeah, I mean, he was saying he hadn't played a ton, but I kind of fancied he might come back stronger. Break's probably done him good. So good clearance that from Clint in the end to get the frame ahead.
Yeah, and with Clint's break now. I was saying to Nick earlier on, it's lovely to see all the players in matching tour tops.
Yeah, they're nice shirts, aren't they? It's a bit more modern than the tour tops we had last year.
Yeah, and the ladies have got their purple ones.
Yeah, it was a nice touch to have those.
It just looks more professional, doesn't it?
Yeah, otherwise it's very hard to get dress codes for pool tournaments that look right, because half the time half the players look smart and half end up looking a bit scruffy a lot of the time, whereas if you've all got the same shirt, it just kind of standardises it.
Yeah. I'm just looking over there at table 2. Joe Naughty, I think, is about to go 1-0 up on Sean Chipperfield. I played Joe this morning. He beat me 4-3. Played really well. Good game.
So Clint's turned up with the American kilt pull break cue. The Predator BK Rush is breaking with.
Oh yeah, he's hit them well. I've noticed with Clint though, he breaks with his normal cue a lot. So
Yeah,
I think it's dependent on how he's feeling.
I was going to say, I'm not sure if I've just not noticed that. I didn't think he'd been playing with that on any of the other matches we've watched.
He's been a little bit unlucky there where that red's just rolled in front of the yellow.
Yes, that's kind of made life tricky, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Looking where the white's going to go if he plays this thin clip to the middle pocket. Yeah, had to play it really thin to avoid the in off.
I tell you what, I think he's had a bit of a touch there. I was still open table, and he's yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think that miss was. I think what he was concerned about was the position. I don't think he just purely missed that. I think he knew he had to hit that on the thin side, but he's just got it a bit too thin.
I mean, I think, excuse me, I think Aaron's got two options here. I think he can either play the retaining safety, clip off one of them, the red next where the two reds are up the top right corner, or possibly play the red off the other red and go attacking. Red off the red next to it, half ball into the top right corner. Well, he's got a long straight red, but it's leaving it very open if he misses that.
Yeah, I think that's the trouble. If he goes for any kind of pot, he's going to leave it pretty open if he misses. He's debating whether to get involved in another one of those tactical frames before the colour.
I mean, does the red plant the yellow into the middle bag? Would it be an open table?
Yeah, I mean, if he could play that shot, I think it's aiming just below the middle pocket. He maybe could make it.
Yeah, he can make it. It's an option. Depends how attacking he's feeling, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it also depends how he feels about being yellows. Mind you, in a sense, beggars can't be choosers here. You'd probably rather get in and get a colour than risk leaving your opponent.
That's the only reason I suggested it. Keeping control of the table. If you're at the table, your opponent isn't.
Yeah, he's clearly caught in a few different minds here.
It's a tough shot, that.
Yeah, there were a few different tough shots. He was just mulling which one to go for. Yeah, as you say, there was a bit of fortune from Clint on that previous shot to leave him in that position. Now bought him an opportunity.
Yeah, and I think he's left him the gap here to get through to the red over the left middle, so I don't think there's any issues with the colour set. Is he going for yellows? That's a clever shot. He's just asking Aaron there if it's still open table.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what's just gone on there, actually.
he's just.
Did he play that, or?
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, he's taking reds.
Yeah, so a few balls have got in. He's now red.
Yeah.
It could be one of the rare situations in world rules. There aren't many times you can pot one of each ball, but that was one of them. So the only ball of any difficulty would appear to be the red on the right-hand side cushion. Even that's not too difficult.
I think he might try going to it now.
Oh, that's
lovely.
perfect.
I'd have pushed that onto the far cushion, me.
Yeah, it's so easy to push those past the pocket.
Yeah, straight behind the yellow.
Yeah, I mean, it's that really confident touch. You're happy you're going to make the angle. You just judge the weight absolutely right.
I mean, he's still got work to do here, though. You know, they're not absolute rollings. That yellow just under the black is in a bit of an awkward position. That's why he's opted. Yeah, that's a lovely shot.
Yeah, he's got himself the choice of the balls now. Clear these two at the bottom of the table. Be a good frame to win this. Go 5-3 ahead. Starts putting some proper pressure on.
It's still a little bit awkward for him. I think he's debating whether to play the red into the left centre first or the bottom left first.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think the one into the left centre is probably the more difficult one to get on, but maybe it's just got too much angle. If it was dead straight, you can't see why this would be difficult.
I think a possibility, the red into the bottom left first and screw back to maybe an inch to the right of the black spot and then play the red under the black to the top left corner and punch it through.
Yeah, basically the problem if he plays the one bottom left first is he's going to get quite good position on the other one, otherwise he can't get up the table.
But I mean, if you, I mean that shot's perfect. You've probably got to screw 4 inches over.
I think this must be too far off straight. I'm sure if this was straight to the middle, he'd have played it.
I think he's scared of double hitting it as well.
Yeah,
it's quite close, isn't it?
I mean, the kind of places he's looking here, it's obviously not possible to get in prime position. So, we'll have to go this way.
He's played that well. He's got a lovely angle here. Bit of left-hand side off the top cushion, off the top left cushion, and I think that red goes into the bottom right corner, so...
Yeah, I think this route just afforded a little bit more margin for error. I mean, your route was kind of easier as long as you stayed in position, but it would have been quite easy to mess the position up. This one has got quite a lot of space at least around the top.
You might not even use the side rail here, you might just trickle past the yellow.
Yeah, I think it's most players prefer using that second rail, don't they? It just makes it a bit
more room for error again.
Yeah, but the ball's coming into play then rather than towards the cushion. Well, so he had to deliberate a bit, but he's found
it's took them well in the end.
Good path. So Adam Davies looking emotionless behind, but knows he's about to go 2 frames behind.
Not really done a lot wrong either.
No, he hasn't. Not much to choose between them. So Clint just taking a comfort break. We'll be back with more commentary when he returns to the arena. So both players back in the arena. It's Aaron Davies just racking up the balls, ready to break off in frame number 9. Big break for him this. He definitely does not want to be slipping 6-3 behind.
No.
That's the potential to be a bad moment in the evening. He lost 4-3 in the last match on this table immediately before this. It's pretty disappointing when you get through 2 days of pool and then you're out of both tournaments within a couple of hours.
Yeah, there's no shame though, is he? You know, Clint's playing well. And it's the quarterfinals, you know, it's not last 1-8 or last 64. He's got to be proud no matter what happens. But it's not over yet.
No, I was about to say, yeah, never mind that. He's still well in this match. Oh, that's a good break as well.
Wow. I think he's going to have to go reds because I think the red's blocking the black. But
yeah, I mean, he'll be happy enough with reds, won't he?
yeah, they're nice as well.
The only 2 that might be tricky to get on are the 2 that he's on at the moment. So drop the 2 in at the top of the table and then looks like it should be fairly plain sailing down this end.
Yeah, I think he can play the red closest to the baud line into the left middle, screw it back a couple of inches, land straight on the red to the left, to the right centre. There we go.
Yeah,
just drop
perfect.
it in and run into the yellow.
Yeah, I'm assuming the red above the black pots, that will obviously open up the black, so then everything will go. And this is what he needed, a kind of fairly routine clearance just to get back into the match.
Yeah, just get his arm going. I mean, I don't think he's got to move the white more than a foot on any of these shots. I think you.
No, that's the key to it, isn't it? We were saying that when we were watching Phil Harrison, as he so often does, just keeps perfect control of the white, hardly moves it. Oh, it's developing into a good match if he can win this one. 5 forward, still be anyone's game.
I don't see where he's going to go wrong here, Mark, if I'm being honest with you.
No, it's one of those ones you've just got to mind your work. It's hard to imagine leaving yourself a missable pot. You just don't want to slip out of position. Almost too many options from this position. You can kind of go about them in a few different ways.
Yeah, I think he'll drop this in to the right bottom now, unless he's not straight.
Yeah, I mean, even if he's off straight, he can run it through for the other red in the left centre, so he's got options both ways. Let's probably leave the one on the bottom cushion until last. Ooh, well,
It's a bit trickier than I wanted.
Yeah, I mean, that's not what he wanted at all, surely.
I still back him to make it, but
No, I don't think he'd go this order. It didn't seem like he could get perfectly on this one at the bottom.
no, as I said, he wasn't straight on it, was he? So
I mean, you're not obviously expecting him to miss this, but when they're on the cushion, slightly more difficult.
as long as he's straight on that is fine.
Yeah, back in prime position now. Can just draw this ball back into the centre pocket, leave himself straight on the last red.
There's all the ladies in the background, look.
Yeah, it's a great venue, this. Nice having it all in the same room as well. Sometimes when you have this many tables, you have to split it across a couple of rooms. It gives a much better atmosphere if everyone's in the same place.
Yeah, it's lovely. And to be honest, I think you could probably fit another 5 or 6 tables in here comfortably, but you don't need it.
No, and it's nice, there's a bit more space. Like sometimes you're kind of creeping around, it's a bit hard to watch the matches, but plenty of space and plenty of space for people to have a chat around the sides.
Well, nice finish there by Owen to get it back to 5-4. I think we've got a game on our hands again now.
Yeah, we certainly have. Clint's sticking with the break cue.
There's a few people around the arena now. It's getting to that Saturday evening.
Yeah, I mean, the advantage of playing through to the final tonight is you always have a nice crowd if you can get it played. I'm not holding out much hope the final will be played. I think we might get the semis done tonight.
It's 8 o'clock now. Possibly.
So just to bring you up to date with some of the other scores, Neil Raybone leading Dave Fernandez by 3 frames to 2. Jack Whelan 2-0 up against John McAllister. And Adam Davis 1-0 up against Tom Cousins. That match has only just started. So the winner of this match will be playing the winner of the Cousins-Adam Davis match. So it's going to be a tongue twister for the commentators if we have an Aaron Davies, Adam Davis semi-final.
What a break that is by Clint, by the way. Absolutely crunched them.
Yeah, that's perfect, isn't it? Don't see this frame taking too long somehow.
Nope. Neil Raybone's just gone 4-2 up against Dave Fernandez over on table 3. Nice finish. Yeah, I think this is quickly going 6-4.
Well, I was about to put you on the spot and ask you who your money was on, but in a very literal sense, your money is on Clint, you were saying, so I guess that's kind of the answer right now.
Yeah, I got Clint at the start of the tournament at 20-1. I think player, Clint's standard, he always tries. It's not one of these players where you see if he's 4-0 down, he starts chucking his cue around and his head in his hands. He'll always try. I just think value for money. Clint was the value bet.
Yeah, I agree. There were some very short-priced people, unsurprisingly, because there were some strong favourites in the field, but not much value at 4 and 5s in a tournament this big.
No, Declan Brennan went to as little as 5-2
yeah,
in the last 16. The last 32. I think as good as Declan is, I really rate him as a player. I think 5-2 in a field with the likes of Clint Jansen, Jack Whelan, John McAllister, Tom Cousins, etc. Yeah, 5-2. No.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think he was backed into that by he's a popular bet, and he obviously won the last tournament, so I guess.
But he was only 4-1 pre-comp. I think that's a little price in a competition with 258 people in it alone. But you could argue the fact there's probably 20 players that could win this on the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, any of the 8 quarter-finalists.
And that's without the unknown, as we was on about earlier.
Yeah, and there were several of the big names have already gone out, so yeah, I agree completely.
Well, the 5-2 in the last 32 has not lasted very long, has it? So
no. So the equation facing Aaron here is that he's going to have to win all 3 of the remaining frames if he wants to get through to the semi-final. Certainly not beyond him. If he could get a dish off his own break here, that would help his cause.
I mean, the bookies have Neil Raybone as favourite now at 2-1. Tom Cousins is joint favourite at 2-1. Clint Jansen 3-1. Dave Fernandez 6-1. Adam Davies 8-1. Jack Whelan 9-1. That's a good price on Jack, 9-1. John McAllister also a very good price at 12-1.
Well, it's a good price on Jack Whelan given that he's 3-0 up in his quarter-final.
Yeah. And Aaron Davies is 14-1 and a very big price in the last 8. Very capable.
Is that updated in running, or is that was pre-course?
Well, I've just gone on that. I've just loaded it up, so.
Mind you, it's a bit of a job if you're running the bookies to keep an eye on all the matches.
Well, there we go. It must be in play because Jack's just gone from 9s to 7s.
Yeah, I think the fact that he's 3-0 up in the match is, once you know he's more likely to be in the semis, that has to reduce the price.
I mean, if Jack was to win, he'd have the winner of Neil Raybone and Dave Fernandez. So, with Neil being the 2-1 joint favourite, he might have. That's probably why. But I think it's a coin toss to who wins this today now or tomorrow.
Yeah, I think probably it's going to be tomorrow, either the early hours of tomorrow or the later hours of tomorrow. So, Aaron's managed the first bit, which is to pot one of the yellow balls.
I think this one shot here might open everything up.
Yes, for a moment it looked like he might not have an opening shot of any note, but if he can get through to this one, that would be pretty useful.
Yeah, I think he just needs to drop this in and drop into them 2 yellows. I think he's just a little bit scared of missing it and not leaving himself a shot. There's Neil Raybone in the background, look, on table 3. Sean Chipperfield there on table 2.
Yeah, Sean knocked me out earlier. He's in rampant form as always. It always happens very quickly, whatever the result is with him.
Yeah, he's a very good player to watch, Sean, when he's playing well, which is most of the time.
I mean, he's sort of a good player to play as well, but not the easiest player to play.
Yeah, I remember watching the game, Sean Chipperfield versus Jordan Shepherd. That was memorable.
Imagine that was a pretty quick one.
Yeah, it didn't last long. Yeah, he's got one tricky ball here on the side rail. I think he'll play on that now, though. Oh, has he got a kick there?
Well, I suppose
it seemed to stop a bit dead.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I'm hesitating is because it sort of does make sense to leave yourself a bit more angle on this one to get the white out, although it makes the pot harder.
His reaction, though, to me says
yeah,
that
I don't think he'd have chosen to leave quite as much angle.
Unless he just didn't quite play it to how he wanted to. But like you say, an angle here is good. He's missed that.
Yeah,
well,
I mean, they're fairly generous, these pockets, but not that generous.
Yeah, I'd be intrigued to ask him after whether it was a kick or whether he's just under-hit it. Because I know he didn't play for it there. Not that much of an angle.
Yeah, and it did make it missable, although it maybe made the position easier. It definitely made that pot missable.
Yeah, well, whatever it was, it's gave Clint a chance to win the match now.
Yeah, so has Aaron played his last shot? Really the only difficult yellow is the one immediately below the cue ball.
Does it go to left centre? I know on the screen it doesn't look like it, but just having a look down at the table, it possibly does. I think it does, you know.
Yeah, that would help. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I mean, it's not the easiest to
he might not play onto it, but...
Yeah.
He's played on it to his right centre. These are tricky.
Yeah. If he'll be tempted by that. I mean, it sort of is tempting because it opens things right up, but very missable. So when you look at it like that, you're like, actually, that looks quite an easy shot.
It looks so easy on the TV,
when you play them, it's not.
I can assure people that don't really play much pool, these are not easy.
Yeah, it would just be so useful to get this ball moved. That's why he's tempted. Yeah, that's it.
Played that well. And providing he's not got too much of an angle on this, you just drop this in dead weight and stay on the right, yellow to the right centre.
Adam Davies now 3-0 up against Tom Cousins. It's been the story of Tom's day. He's got behind in a few matches and has managed to find a way through, but he's going to have to do it again the hard way. So Clint, if he does go on to win this frame, he's going to have a little bit of a break because that match, Adam Davies against Tom Cousins, who's going to provide the opponent, is only at 3-0, so it's going to take them a while to get that one finished. Although I think right now he'll probably be pretty happy to have a break. He's played a lot of pool today.
That's a good shot. Just run this. Well, just drop it in dead weight now. Left to the black to the bottom left corner.
I think on balance he's been the best with the players, although Aaron's played his part in this match. Just a couple of frames have gone astray that he could have won.
Yeah. John McAllister's pulled a frame back against Jack.
So just this black to take Clint Jansen through to the semi-final. Good performance to beat Aaron Davies by 7 frames to 4.
Yeah, very good, and a little fist pump there by Clint as well.
Yeah, shows what it means to him.
As I said to you earlier on, it does mean a lot to him, and he'll play every shot like it's his last. You know, you're getting 100% out of Clint.
Thanks for your company, Wade. It was a good match to watch.
Yeah,
going to have a short break now while the remaining quarterfinals are played, and then we'll be back in a bit. We're going to just throw down briefly before we stop the coverage to Nick, who's waiting downstairs to have a quick word with Clint.
So I'm joined by Clint after that win. Clint, I'm going to have to wing this one because I was on dinner break, so I didn't actually get to watch the match. But you look like you were playing well.
Yeah, my missus got food as well. She's ordered me food, so I've had to wait to eat mine. But I'm going to tuck into that in a minute. But yeah, I played. Yeah, I feel like I played okay. Just need to break better. I mean, I broke better towards the end of the match. The start of the match, I got lucky. I jumped the white off the table and the black went in off the break. So really fortunate there. But I think as long as I can get my break working, I think I've got a good chance of going all the way.
Yeah, I mean, semi-final now, and in the bottom half. So was it Tom or Adam Davies? Is it?
I know them two are definitely in the bottom half.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure who won, to be honest, but yeah, it'll be one of them.
People have been picking you this weekend, and for good reason. I mean, you're really cueing the ball well.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't really been practicing too much, but this week I played virtually every day because I thought I wanted to feel good and play good, and I have done so. It's paid off.
What about the rules, Clint? I mean, you're in Blackpool now. I think you've got a bit of a history of world rules, haven't you? Are you finding them okay?
Yeah, I grew up playing world rules. That's what I first started playing for probably 10, 15 years. But obviously going to Blackpool, then coming back, is a little bit tricky. Just try not to get too bogged down in the tactical frames, and hopefully they spread well and you can take your clearances out.
Yeah, I was talking to Marshy earlier, and he comes from a world rules background as well, but he forgot to nominate twice in his match against Shane Thompson.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so any problems with that?
that?
Oh well, so semi-final now, and just one more hurdle to get yourself to the final. Best of luck with the rest of the event. We'll see you in the final, hopefully.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, Clint.
Cheers.
Well done, mate.